Hi everyone. Today, Jasmine, Valerie, and I will be looking over the poem Away Melancholy by C. Smith. A few things we'll be going over are the summary and meaning of the poem, the context, themes, form and structure, and a line-by-line analysis. Starting with the summary and meaning of the poem, Away Melancholy is a heart-aching poem in which the poet conveys her argument for positivity in the face of sorrow. It is basically about finding light in the darkness. Throughout the poem, Smith uses powerful imagery that taps into multiple senses in order to remind the reader of the innate beauty of the world we live in. The poet takes the reader through the basic reasons why the speaker believes there is no reason to feel melancholy. She taps into humanity's goodness and its strength. In this poem, the poet explores the prominent theme of nature, and through natural images, the poet sets a scene to remind the reader of the basic beauty of the living world.
Away Melancholy was written in 1957. She struggled melancholy and is treated for it. She has depression throughout her life. At the age of 5, she contracted tuberculosis penetrasis, which she has been sent away to a sanatorium where she stayed for 3 years. The separation from her mother makes her contemplated the suicide. 4 years before the poem was released, she had a nerve breakdown, which made her quit her job. According to what the writer Clive James said, Away Melancholy is a charming poem for everyone, but not for herself. Themes: despair and hope, humanity versus nature.
Form and structure of Away Melancholy. The poem has 9 stanzas of varying lengths. The irregular stanzas can sound weary, forceful, or full of heart and conviction. There is no specific rhyme scheme, but there are rhyming examples throughout the poem. It is a free verse with no base meter. Short sentences create lines that are visually around the same length, but range in the number of syllables they contain. There are moments of heightened biblical language such as, "He carrieth his meat, raiseth a stone," which suggests that the speaker is delivering great and solemn truths. The poem is also an internal monologue where the poet tries to shake off her feelings of melancholy and reflect on humankind's
Away melancholy, away with it, let it go. The poet uses anaphora, a repetition of the word away, implying sadness and gloominess will be hard to shift. The phrase let it go was written in the imperative mood, a mood of verb forming a command or request, making the readers to infer that she is the one holding on the negative thinking, which show a moment of empowerment.
Are not the trees green, the earth as green? Does not the wind blow, fire leap, and the rivers flow? Away melancholy. The following stanza is used as a way to remind and perhaps convince herself that things aren't so bad. The world is still as it should be. The trees are green, the wind blows, and the river flows. The elements of the world are aligned and working just as they always do. This is something to take pleasure and comfort in. It should be enough to banish any sense of melancholy. Fire leap is an imagery to show energy and power. Thus, not the wind blow, fire leap, and the rivers flow creates a powerful nature is heavily contrasted with petty melancholy. The last 2 words of the 2 line, blow and flow, is an assonant rhyme which emphasizes that contrast. Fire leap is an imagery to show energy and power.
The ant is busy, he carrieth his meat, all things hurry to be eaten or eat. Away melancholy. The poet shifts the focus onto animals or insects. Here, Smith uses a personification by explaining that the ant is busy, and also by using the pronouns he and his instead of it and its, referring to the ant as an actual human. She shows that even the ant, one of the smallest creatures on our planet, has a purpose to live. This may be in hopes to push away the sadness. She communicates to the polypteuton, to be eaten or eat, that all organisms on the planet are prey or predators who need to be eaten or to eat. And then at the end, she again repeats the lines, "Away melancholy," as if the more times she says it, the more likely it will happen.
Men, too, hurry, eat Cobbles berry. He's an animal also, but hey ho, melancholy. Away with it, let it go. She then shifts her focus onto humankind. The fact that she used simple verb in the present tense to communicate how humankind are not too different from being an ant, showing our action too are purposeful and cyclical, comparing humankind with simple ant to survive, to eat, to have couples, to reproduce generation in order to continue the cycle of life before we are buried. The exclamation "hey ho" has a nautical origin like heave ho, which used to mark rhythm heaving rope on a ship. This shows a sense of gloominess on herself and the strength and conscious effort that is required to dust it off.
Man of all creatures is superlative, away melancholy. He of all creatures alone raiseth a stone, away melancholy. Into the stone the god pours what he knows of good, calling good God, away melancholy, let it go. Man is in no way lesser than all the creatures that Mother Nature so graciously cared for, but is better. The poet does not purely compare animals to humans and leave it at that. She explains that humanity is superior. Man has something that animals don't, as humanity is the only one who actively takes action to be good. His raising of a stone is a conscious action, and it is this capability for free will and decision-making that separates man from animal. Raising a stone usually has a negative connotation, but this is juxtaposed with the act of man filling it with goodness. The first God that is mentioned refers to the man himself, as he pours his goodness into every action he undertakes. Inherently, man is good, and all their actions are reasonable and full of goodness. This good that they pour into their deeds is credited to God. The poet says that God is a concept created by men, and all the good that they do is a reflection of God. The stone that they raise can be used as they wish, and the religion that they follow make them do good. This stanza has many interjections of the refrain "away melancholy," as if it is in the background as a constant thought in the poet's mind, as she wants to move on to feel the positivity and warmth that life brings. It is a constant drum, a never-ending desire, the right of humanity. If we are superlative, then we should be able to rid ourselves of sorrow. But here, the poet's constant cry for melancholy to go away suggests otherwise. She uses the metaphor of a stone raised by God and humankind to a higher status. The speaker brings God into the picture, perhaps to suggest that faith as well as nature can provide lightness in the dark. Whatever we are feeling melancholic about, there is so much more to life.
6. Speak not to me of tears, tyranny, pox, wars, saying, can God, stone of man's thoughts, be good? Say rather, it is enough that the stuffed stone of man's good, growing, by man's called God. Away melancholy, let it go. Although as said earlier, there is no specific rhyme scheme, there are a few different ones that can be seen here and there. An example of this is an identical rhyme, God, and a para-rhyme, good and God. This could reflect the author's fragile state of mind. Furthermore, in this stanza, she can be seen to answer questions made by the part of her mind that is more pessimistic. She makes use of an asyndeton here, tyranny, pox, wars, suggesting that this list may not be a complete sum of all bad things that have taken place on our planet. In addition, Smith uses plosive alliterations, tears, tyranny, and a strong word, pox. This shows the negative things that are still in her mind, despite her trying to get rid of all things, creating sadness. Furthermore, the author creates this dreamlike image of humanity raising a stone. This is a complete contrast of the first few lines, as she now shows that even if there is existence of evil, the good of man still exists, and she claims that it is because of the help of God that a human is resilient and continues to grow. She ends the stanza by once again ordering herself and her readers to let go of the melancholy.
Men aspire to good, to love, sign. Humankind's aim towards goodness, sign towards love. She implied that this is enough.
Beaten, corrupted, dying, in his own blood lying, yet heaves up an eye above, cries, love, love. It is his virtue needs explaining, not his failing. At the end, the poet continues to give reasons for why men deserve tranquility and an escape from the suffering of the world. The evolution of man is not stagnant, and humanity is always yearning for growth. They aspire to be good, to love deeply, to develop and learn, yet they are twisted and corrupted. Their sigh represents how man can give up on this, but never do. They sigh at their lack of ability to accomplish what is needed, and even on their deathbed still cry out for love, for tenderness, for goodness. It is his virtue needs explaining, not his failing, means that men should not be judged according to their failures, but according to their goodness. The poet reminds us to look at humanity in a good light, and cast our eyes away from those who make it worse. One should concentrate on the people who strove to grow and to make the world a better place. These people sacrificed themselves for the betterment of others and laying down in their own blood, still crying out for a better life for others. They call out to love, asking humanity's goodness to survive. So melancholy has no place here. There is no space for loss, for failure, for emptiness. Away melancholy, as man does not deserve to suffer through you. Beaten, corrupted, dying is an ensyndeton again, destructive imagery. In line 4, love, love. The repetition draws our attention to the central message of the poem in the goodness of people and how we strive to love others. In the last 2 lines, it is his virtue needs explaining, not his failing. Contrasts once more to highlight that we should focus on the good and not the bad, a simple yet effective message we can all learn from. Even in the darkest moments of life, when one is dying in his own blood, humanity raises an eye to the sky and cries, love, love. There is no reason to delve into the failings of humankind, but the speaker says, it's more interesting to consider the depths of humanity's goodness. That is where the true complexity and amazement lies.
Away, melancholy, away with it, let it go. The repetition of these lines in different parts of the poem can show the author's struggle with melancholy and how it is cyclical and continuous. The repetition of the word away implies that the feeling of sadness and gloominess will be difficult to shift away from. The words let it go act as a command or a request which she is telling herself to do. And lastly, there is also no full stop at the end of the stanza, which could show how the speaker's struggle is nowhere near over. Thank you.